Hey y'all, it's me. I'm back with another tutorial. I'm sorry if I sound like super nasally. The seasons are changing, so yeah, allergies. This is my allergy season. So we are going to start off with a morning mug. We are going to sand. We are going to clean it with 91% isopropyl alcohol. Then we are going to go in with parts A and B of Counterculture DIY's fast setting epoxy. We've already spray painted our cup. I just want to make sure that you guys know how the process goes. Want to make sure that your cup is sand before you start to do anything. This helps for spray paint, epoxy, everything that you're going to be adding to that cup to adhere to the cup. Okay. So I heated the cup up. This helps me a lot because the little amount of epoxy that I'm using does not always spread over the tumbler, but once you heat it up, you see it just glides. It slides on there like butter. It is the best thing ever. So you want to make sure that all the time you heat it up as much as possible. This will also help you reduce the amount of epoxy that you're using. If I am base coating 12 tumblers at a time, I could probably do that with less than 25 to 30 mLs, right? Because we're heating up that cup and we're putting on the minimal amount of epoxy. Make sure that you cover the handles as well. That is very important. That's something when I first started making tumblers, I always forgot like a little spot. So like if you have to cover it with your entire hand to make sure that handle gets covered at all costs. We are going to go in with White and Nerdy from Olive's Outlet. This is a beautiful glitter. It is a mix of silvers and champagnes and golds. Like, it's a mixture of different things in here. I absolutely love this glitter. I will have a link to it in the description below so you guys will be able to locate that. This is the outlet site to Peachy Olive Glitters. So we're going to be using White and Nerdy, and we're going to be using Acadia. The Acadia is going to be from the September Peachy palette. The next step in our process is we want to make sure that the glitter is flat. All right. A lot of people are terrified of using chunky glitters, especially on the bottoms of the cup. A lot of people struggle with that. You have to be patient. 2, you also need to make sure it is flat. Allow the cup to sit for 15-ish minutes and then go in and flatten that glitter after you've applied it with epoxy and all that stuff. And then we're going to take it outside and spray paint it after we've allowed our epoxy to completely set. We're going to do about 2 rounds of this, dust it off with our chip brush, make sure nothing excess is coming off, and then we're going to cover that with polycrylic. That's what I'm using in this video. Yes, my bottle says quick coat. However, I typically use quick coat. I just ran out. I did not have it anymore, and Home Depot is like 5 minutes from my house. So I was like, let me go out and get some polyacrylic because I need it for a couple cups that I'm working on. So you want to make sure that your cup is fully covered with polyacrylic. I did this about 3 times before I applied any epoxy. It helps smooth out the glitter on the cup. So if you have any lumps after you flatten it out, it definitely helps with that. This is just me showing you everything that I'm also going to be using. As you can tell, as I'm tapping on things, I was in this room recording this video, watching TikTok videos, and talking to myself all at the same time. This is the world of ADHD. It's amazing. So next we are going to apply our tape. I think this tape is about 1/4 of an inch. So we are going to just make sure that the cup is fully covered all the way around using this 1/4 of an inch tape. And you can lift it and move it. It is not one of those tapes that like leaves residue or anything like that behind. I'll also have this link down below. Um, these little like smaller pieces of tape come in handy when you're doing like intricate stuff, or like this, how we're cutting inward on our design. So that's why I like it. The handles can typically get in the way, but you kind of gotta just work with it as best as you can. But we went and we measured the width of those two taped lines. And when we measured it, we got about 2 inches, I think it was, from one, and this is on the inside of the line, so from one side to the other. So that's how we determined how big we actually want the leaves to be. At this point, I decided that I wanted to go with about 1.5 inches. So we're going to use it's Oramask 813, but it is a stencil vinyl. We're just going to cut off a small amount. That's all we need. And we're going to cut out 6 leaves. There are 3 different types that we're going to use. I am going to be cutting this using my Silhouette 4. I'll show you guys how I created the offset and the stencil piece for it. I might include it. If you guys have access to Creative Fabrica, you'll be able to access it there. I also have a link for that. So if you don't have access to it, you can definitely get a month free trial. So next, what we're going to do is we are going to measure the entire cup. Do not go based on any measurements pre-epoxying the cup or glittering the cup, because the more you add to it, the thicker the layers are going to be. So we are just taking that 11.25 and we're breaking it into 6 because we have 6 leaves. All right, so we want to know what the difference is going to be amongst those 6 leaves. So I put one down and I measured from that leaf to the next line, 1 3/4 in for each leaf. All right. So if you're making this cup and your cup is at 11.25, just know how I did mine was 1 3/4 between each was the next dot. So I just used a Sharpie to dot where those leaves are going to be, and that made this process so much easier. I'm like, why didn't I think about this before? Because I was just going to throw them wherever I felt they needed to go. But I'm like, I have to, if somebody said they wanted this cup again, I'm not going to know how I did it, right? So measuring out the placement always works. So next we're going to be using, we're going to use a lighter color, but I was like, this Acadia glitter is like much richer, like chocolatey, chocolatier. I don't know if that's a word, but it's one today. But yeah, it's much deeper and darker, so I wanted to use Chestnuts Roasting. It's from Papa Color. I got these from Counterculture DIY as well. They came in a pack of like 8, and there's 8 different colors. They are beautiful colors. I actually used it on another tumbler I did before a couple weeks ago, and I love them. So once we applied our first layer of the Chestnuts Roasting, we are going to dry it with our heat gun, and then we're going to go back in and we're going to do a second layer. All right, after the second layer is when we're going to apply a very thin coat of epoxy, just so we can start applying the Acadia glitter. In this glitter, it's like, I didn't realize it, and I had dumped it out on like a parchment piece of parchment paper before, and for some reason I did not notice that it had like some semi chunky pieces in it. Also something that I love. So when I put it on the cup, I was like, It's gonna be really cute because it has like some teals and golds, and it's just a really well balanced glitter. Um, so we're gonna apply thin coats. Make sure you do not go over the edge of your tape. If you are anything like me, and you are a messy crafter, just tape over that piece of tape that you've already placed there, just in case, so you don't get any epoxy up higher past that border line. Make it a little bit easier for yourself. And it helps with cleanup later, because you'll see here when I applied the glitter and I dusted it off, I got it past that border line. And that was because my finger that had epoxy on it touched the bottom of that cup, and I didn't realize it until it got stuck. But I was able to clean it up because I just let it dry and I just chipped away at it with um, some alcohol, as you can see here. So I used 91% alcohol and kind of cleaned up some of those bits that weren't coming off right away. But I also came back with my X-Acto knife a little bit later once it completely dried and just chipped away at it. It was only a couple of pieces because the alcohol strips, or the alcohol and paper towel helped me a little bit at that point. I've already peeled, and I'm really sorry to you guys, I already peeled the peekaboo spots. And what helps with peeling peekaboo is if you take a hot glue gun, and I'm going to show you guys in our next tutorial how I did that. You're going to take a hot glue gun and put little dots over the stencil vinyl. And then once you apply your glitter, you're going to be able to see that glue spot there. So it won't be hard for you to locate and peel it up. I did not do it on this one. I had a dream that I recorded this. Woke up, looked through my phone, and there was no recording of me peeling poop. So I had to just let you guys know that. So we're gonna clean up those little teal dots that we put on earlier, so we knew exactly where our leaves were gonna go. Just a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip, got them all up. I also cleaned up a few of the spots where the paint started to run, where I didn't smooth out my stencil vinyl before. So I just went in, cleaned that up. And because our glitter and everything is already flat, we've spray painted with Rust-Oleum 2x clear gloss. We are now going to go in with our polyacrylic again, or polycrylic again, and we are going to give this a coat. Now, I was being overly generous with how much I put on this cup, and you'll kind of see me rake off any excess in the measuring cup below. But you don't have to actually use a lot. It really doesn't matter if you do or not, because that's going to actually help you in the long run. But if you do use a heavy amount of it, double the amount of time that you are allowing this to dry, because the thicker the coat, the longer the time frame it's going to take to dry. We are using Cricut vinyl, and y'all, I have the best and the worst relationship with this particular vinyl. I cannot tell you what the name of it is, but literally every time every time I use this vinyl, I get so scared, because I love it, but two, it is super unpredictable. And I always cut it like, I do like 2 and 3 passes of it, cutting like an S 3 times or 2 times, just to make sure it's cut properly. But everything kind of worked out. There were, when I was peeling the vinyl, reverse weeding it, some of them did kind of like, some of the letters did kind of pop up, but it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm going to reverse weed them off of the cup. So any of the filled parts of the letters that are on the cup currently, I will go back later and pick those off. I just wanted to make sure that I was able to get each letter onto the tumbler. So as you can tell, we are doing them in the color block pattern. So orange, teal, orange, teal. And this kind of balances with the actual colors within the glitter as well. So I'm going to go in with more orange words. Y'all, I love this cup because it really just makes me think of fall. And when I was designing it, I was like, ooh, all of the things, what are the things that make you think of fall? Right? So what are some words that make you think of fall? Even though I live in Florida, we don't necessarily have fall. We are summer year round, except for like January and February when it's actually really cold here. But yeah, I was just thinking of what are all the things that fall represents. So caramel apples, apple cider, scarves, all those different things. And that's what I wanted to add to this cup. When you're sitting on the porch and you're drinking your coffee in the morning, what makes you think of fall? So we are going to lift up our leaves, just peel those back. They were really easy to peel. Anchor them using your weeding tool or your X-Acto knife, whatever makes you comfortable. I can't do the vinyl piece. I am very shaky. My left hand is very shaky, which is the hand that I'm applying it with, which is really funny. But like when I'm holding something with two hands, I'm super, super shaky. I don't know why. It just happens. But I just anchor them with my thumb. After they're on the weeding tool, I anchored them with my thumb. And then that allows me to release it with the weeding tool. And it made it so easy to apply it. This was the only one that I had a little difficulty with, but I just had to move it like a couple more times and it was good. But yeah, this is basically the cup we're going to add on our gold lines. I am going to show you guys the humongous reveal here at the end. Thank you if you are still here. Thank you if you've even watched this tutorial. I appreciate you guys always joining me. I hope you like it. I hope you love it. Drop in the comment section below what you guys want to see next. And I will be seeing you again, hopefully soon. Actually, it will be soon. So until next time, I will let you guys go. You have a great day. Happy Friday.